Okay, welcome to Grumpy Vegan Grandad. Saturday night stream Q&A. Is there anybody out there? We always ask this question. Is there anybody out there? Am I all alone? I hope not. Let's see, any comments in there? We've got one watching at the moment. Can you go on the comments? I'm Easy Vegan, Bohemian B, hello, we're picking up. Can you hear me okay? Just give me a yes or a no if you can hear me okay, guys, and then we will proceed. Hello, Vegan Programmer. I'm Easy Vegan, give us a shout. Am I loud and clear? Loud and clear, right, okay, sweet. So before we bring Tony on, I just want to, you're cooking with Venom. I just want to mention something. I'm going to share the screen now. Let's have a look. There we go. Now, this is what I want you all to see. I don't know whether some of you have already seen this, but there wasn't an attempt by snowflake farmers and food manufacturers to stop us vegans calling burgers, sausages, pasties, pies. And they've gone to the European Parliament, and the European Parliament have decided that it's a no-go. We can carry on calling these products what they are. I'm so happy about this, because this would be an absolute ridiculous scenario. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, are they calling the meat eaters of the world dumb because they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a vegan burger and a meat burger? I mean, 9 times out of 10, the blood gives it away, you know what I mean? But I'm really happy about that. Common sense has finally prevailed, so really cool. Anyway, let's get to the main attraction. So Tony Drake first came to my attention through I'm Easy Vegan's channel. He did a chat with him, and I thought while I was watching that, what an inspirational guy this is. I really would like to have a chat with him. So without further ado, let's bring on Tony and let's have a chat.
All right.
Hello, Tony. Did we catch you in mid-munch then by any chance?
Mid-munch? No, not yet. Believe it or not, I'm still fasting right now. And,
really? Okay. So do you want to introduce yourself to the people who may not have heard of you or have heard from you before?
Absolutely. So, yeah, we met on YouTube and also on Instagram as well. Thank you very much for having me, first and foremost. I've been vegan for about 4.5 years now. I'm 42 years old, and I'm out here in California, United States. And so it's been such a journey to literally transform my life into a vegan lifestyle, being able to help and inspire other people, and being able to showcase that you can still live a vegan lifestyle, eat plant-based foods, and be able to represent a fit lifestyle, behavior, mindset. It's just been absolutely phenomenal. So I just want to once again say thank you.
Nice one. Well, no, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure, because I think what the world needs right now is inspiration, because a lot of people at the moment are like, they're vegetating at home. We can't go out, or well, some of us can't now. We're back in lockdown. A lot of people are comfort eating. There's a lot of negative things going on in the world. Some people who live alone are isolated. And what do we do when we're isolated at home? We either sit around doing nothing, watching TV, or we eat. And it's a really sort of downward spiral from that point. But before we get into all that, Tony, let's just have a quick look at who's on before we carry on. So we've got Bohemian B, we've got I'm Easy Vegan, we've got Vegan Programmer. Hello, Carl. We've got Cooking with Venom, great channel. Please have a look at Cooking with Venom's channel. We've got Ekaterina Marinova. Hello, Katya. Nice to see you on board. That's it for now. I don't know where everybody else is. Where is everybody? Come on. We need to get people on this stream. So, yeah, I want to go right back, Tony, because I want to know a little bit about you prior. I mean, you've got some videos on here that I'm going to show later, but what was your life like growing up, school time, school sort of age of life?
Right. So I grew up the youngest of 4 boys, right? Single mother. And it was a bit of a struggle from time to time, but I think that's what a lot of families, just in general. But it allowed us to be stronger as grown men, fathers, and grandfathers. And as my mom is such a very, very strong, beautiful woman who has 10 grandchildren and has just been a phenomenal mother. And so being the youngest of 4 and having a 15-year gap between my oldest brother and myself, you know, we grew up, we all looked out for each other. Going to school was totally fine. 1st through 6th grade, things were going good. And then around 6th grade, things started to change. And that's when a lot of bullying started to take place. And so by this time, my brothers already were having families of their own. And so it just became to me and my mom. And so we moved around a little bit. And I was, at the time, 255 pounds when I was around 11 or 12 years old. And I got picked on quite a bit for being the fat kid. The first day of 6th grade, I ran into this girl who was in my class. And the first words I hear was, "Damn, you're fat," right? And so I'm just like, okay, all right, what do I do from there, right? So throughout my whole junior high school year, I was just picked on, spit on, etc. I can go into that. That's going to be a whole other topic later. But I pretty much grew up obese and a big kid my whole life. And so while my mom was working quite a few jobs and making sure that the family was supported, I was at times, you know, I'd be on my own, but also had friends as well. But it was still a struggle. I loved food. I ate whatever you can name, I ate it, and didn't really have any discipline at the time.
So, I mean, so you weren't poor then? You weren't sort of in the poor bracket? Would you say you was just the average family?
I would say we grew up, we had our struggles.
Yeah.
And so with the mom raising 4 boys, that could be a struggle in itself, right? So she hustled. She was a hustler.
So what you're saying is that it was the type of food that you was eating that was causing you the problems, not the fact that you had so much food in the cupboards that you could just gorge yourself.
Right. It was my own, you know, decisions, because my other brothers, they were fine. They were fit. They were in sports. It was just my own decision to eat junk food.
Right. So your brothers didn't have the problem with obesity. They never put the weight on.
Correct.
Why do you think that was? Do you think do you think there's some sort of medical thing with it? Do you reckon some people have a really high satiation threshold and some people have low? I mean, I struggle putting weight on, and I blame it on high metabolism. But again, I've looked at what I actually eat, and sometimes I can skip my dinner, I can skip breakfast, and I don't feel hungry. So I don't think there is such thing as there's a slow and a fast metabolism, but I don't think they should affect weight. But do you think you may have had something that sort of said, you're still hungry, still hungry, still hungry? Or do you think it was a psychological effect?
I think more so I was the late bloomer, right? So my brothers, they played sports through their younger years, all the way up until high school and college, right?
Yeah.
I didn't play sports until I was in the 11th grade. So I was a really late bloomer. I was more of the kid that liked to watch movies or watch wrestling and eat food and go outside to play with friends, but I didn't have that athletic background as a kid as my brothers did. So I think for them to start with that at an earlier age and for me to start that at a later age, it affected me more so.
Yeah. I mean, when you say you was obese, let me see if I can get my calculator up, because I'm no good at maths, because we work in it's 14 pounds to a stone, isn't it? What did you say you was when you were young? How many pounds did you say you was?
255 pounds.
255.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
18 stone. Whoa. Wow. Okay. Now that puts it in perspective.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I have this. Oh well. I just have this thing I got to take off, but it's all right.
Sorted it. You got it?
No, I'll get it off in a second.
I'll give you a minute to do that if you want.
All right.
I'll go through some of the comments here at the moment while you get yourself started. You good?
Yep, we're good to go now.
I just want to say before we go on as well, I'm gonna not look at the comments too much at the moment. If you've got any questions, just hang fire till I just sort of say, yeah, we're going to look at some questions now. But so I've just worked it out at 18 stone. British people can't visualize this pound and thing, you know what I mean? So 18 stone. I mean, did you watch Vegan Mooncat on I'm Easy Vegan's channel the other day? He reached the grand total of 34 stone.
Wow.
Which was double. So that would have been, what, 500 pounds? Yeah. And he's lost it. You need to have a look at this guy. Amazing transformation as well. So we're at the teens now, and you're overweight. The bullies. When did you actually turn around, and did you ever turn around and sort of give it them back, or were you just constantly living in fear?
At the time, I was living in some fear because when I was growing up in high school, junior high and high school, the gangs were very prevalent then.
Yeah,
and so I was afraid of getting beat up and jumped. And it mentioned earlier when my brothers, they had their own families, right? Even though we still lived in the same like San Diego County, you know, they had their families to attend, and at this time it was just me and my mom. And so I didn't want to tell my mom, hey, I'm getting picked on, and because I'm fat, and my teacher's aide calling me names, and you know, it was just I just kind of all into myself. I didn't know how to defend myself really.
And I suppose it doesn't look good if like adult brothers come to your defense. That doesn't do your street cred any good either, does it? And it's like, you know, you've got to sort of handle it yourself. So what did this do to you sort of mentally? Did you withdraw, or did you make it stronger?
At the time, I just try to make people laugh, right? I still have friends as well, so I would just hang out with them and then just try to make people laugh. And, you know, I was the fat kid who was jolly, but in the inside, it was pretty painful.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I was bullied as a kid as well. And I'm only laughing. The only reason I'm laughing is because I've got some school reports from my junior school. So I would have been, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I was sick of getting bullied. And my dad turned around. He said, listen, son, he said, next time anyone starts on you, just turn around, clench your fist and punch them full on right between the eyes.
Yeah. And
from that moment, that particular year, my school reports go from Danny's a really nice pupil to Danny's very quick to hit out at people. Danny is very impatient with other pupils. And it's like, they were bullying me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it does take a lot of guts. It does take a lot of guts, and it does drag you down. It does sort of like grind you down and puts you in with yourself. It's not a nice feeling to have that anxiety and that fear about just leaving the house. It's just not, you know, and you know, if you go to the shops, you're going to bump into these guys, or you go the long way around to avoid them. And yeah, it's not a cool situation at all. It's not.
Yeah. I've had a gun drawn on me and everything.
And do you know something as well? I used to make people laugh. That was my defense mechanism. I was the clown. I loved it. I was just like, yeah, I was really good at making people laugh. It got me in a lot of trouble, but it compared with what the alternative was, it was like, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered about a slap over the head every now and again.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up this Instagram channel that you've got, Tony. I'm going to share it with people, because there's a little video on there that I want people to see, and it's the transformation one you did.
Okay. I love that. I'm really trying to have that one to go as viral as possible. It speaks a lot of volume across different avenues, right? Showing not only a lifestyle transformation.
That's just the way it is. I let it go back to the place, kids, and then saints. That's the way it is. Come on. That's just the way it is.
You know, and I just think that's epic. It's great. Here's another interesting photograph. I mean, wow, you know, that just shows the transformation. That's amazing, mate. So please, people, go over, have a look at that video, because we want to try and get it out there because it's really inspirational. See if there's any more.
Regarding that video, what I really want to be able to do is inspire people in many avenues, right? As a kid, like I mentioned, I was being bullied, right? So there are kids today who are bullied because of their size and for any other nature, and it's taken it to a whole nother level now where kids are taking their own lives. So I want that to speak volumes to people, and then also the transformation of having a plant-based lifestyle. Being vegan and going to show that, hey, you can still be fit and be vegan at the same time. So that's another avenue I want to be able to discuss with and also inspire people with. And then another avenue is being able to say, hey, look, this isn't overnight, right? For me to go from 335 pounds to where I'm at today in the 220 pounds, it's not an overnight thing. This takes dedication. It takes consistency. And trust me, I have had setbacks like you wouldn't believe. I would lose 10, gain 15. I would lose 5 and gain 8. Right? It's been a roller coaster. I wasn't really consistent. So there's multiple avenues that I want to be able to utilize that video to speak volumes to people and inspire them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's move on a little bit. So you leave school. What sort of work did you get into? What did you do as a job once you left high school?
So graduated from high school, played a little bit of college football. 1 year, we lost all 10 games. And then from there, I already had a goal in mind and to get into professional wrestling or sports entertainment. So
you were still overweight at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got into the whole wrestling and started to learn more and more how to entertain and build a character, but my weight was still an issue. And so 5 or 6 years into the wrestling career, it was like, look, if I need to get to the next level, I need to make a change. And so I started to literally take my mindset and say, by the next year, I want to be able to go wrestle in Japan. I want to be able to wrestle in Mexico. I want, scouts to see me so that I can start taking it to even higher grounds. And so within that first year, I lost 80 pounds in 1 year. And so the first 44 pounds came off super quick, but I didn't have a nutrition, like a regimen for food. I just work out and just cut out all the bad food. But then my now wife was able to help me drop that extra 40 pounds. So
you weren't vegan at this point? You weren't
plant-based? I was not vegan.
Okay. So how old were you at this point, Tony?
At this point, I was around 26, 27. And so that's when I dropped the weight. And so, kind of fast forward, I was able to conquer those goals, right? I went to Japan, I went to Mexico. I've done quite a bit in my wrestling career. But then after the 12 years of wrestling, whoever's an athlete, right? And I'm not speaking for all athletes, but there's a majority of athletes who retire. And after they retire, they still eat the same as they did when they were athletes, but they're not performing or training the same. So all the weight went back up, right? In 2017, 2018.
Wow. Okay. So you went back up to?
Close to 290 pounds. Right.
So you were pretty much back to where you started?
Well, at first I was 335 at my heaviest, but then so now back home was 290 pounds. And in 2016 is when I went vegan. So I was vegan, but I wasn't consistent. It was more like eating a lot of junk food. I'm like, well, I'm vegan, but I don't know what to really take.
Okay, so question is now, this is the golden question. Did you go vegan and did you go plant-based? First question.
I went vegan completely. It was a transition into veganism.
Why did you transition into veganism? What triggered you?
So first, my wife, right? She was the first one to go completely vegan after she saw a few documentaries. I think Forks Over Knives was one.
Yeah.
And Earthlings.
Yeah.
And she said, no more. And so a friend of ours, who she went to school with, said, "Hey, I think it's best for your body for you to, because she was feeling really sick, for you to start taking in plant-based foods, right?
Yeah.
Or eat vegan foods." And so she did, and within a matter of a week, she's noticed that her body started to change for the better. And so my transition was in a 2-week span, and it was like eating animal-based protein to then pescatarian, vegetarian, and then veganism, all within 2 weeks. And I've never looked back since.
It's amazing, isn't it? I did it on a weekend. I mean, I went plant-based. I thought I'd gone vegan, but I hadn't gone plant. I went pescatarian, because it's that not letting go of this. You're not quite sure. I mean, we're talking 4.5 years ago now. But it's that not letting go of what you consider is normality. And in your mind, it's a big jump to go from what you think is normality to something that is considered a bit out there, a bit hippie-ish, a bit sort of not the norm, a bit niche. And it is a frightening prospect, Tony. I'll admit that. And I mean, I never bumped into anybody who was vegan. My whole journey was plant-based for health. That was my whole journey. And I think yours was very similar. Not the fact that you went vegan, the fact that you transitioned bit by bit. But I mean, let me ask you this question. If somebody had approached you when you were 20, would they have convinced you to go vegan then?
I would say probably not, simply because I was so wrapped up into the whole 5 meals a day. You got to have your chicken, tuna, and rice. That was like the standard here. You got to have your tuna, bro. And everything was like bro at the end. Got to have your chicken and rice, bro.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah. I know the bro thing. I mean, I did go down the silly route of steroids. And I did look quite well with them. I looked fucking amazing, mate. But I was constantly having colds and flu. I was constantly ill because my, well, first of all, your core temperature goes up. So I wasn't sleeping properly. I was sweating all night. Your resistance to germs goes down. You get ill a lot. And then you've got the forwards, backwards. And this is why my head is like it is, because it all went bigger. And now it's shrunk back down.
Wow.
You'll see a lot of men, you'll see a lot of ex-steroid users with sort of ripples on the head. And that's a big sign, like ripples like that.
Wow.
You see a lot of guys like that. And that is usually from steroid use, because not only do your muscles swell, also everything on your body, your fingers. I remember my rings getting too tight. They can move around now, but they were almost strangling my fingers,
Yeah.
So that was a silly route to take. And this last 12 months, I've been, as you know, our good friend Corinne Sutton, I was under him for 12 months, and I've never had to diet. But I found dieting a toil. I've never seen so many inanimate objects looking like food in my life. Like a piece of paper hanging off the wall. It was like, I wonder if I could eat that. And and I mean, we laughed, Tom, but did you find that? Did you find things that were just like you hated? You look at something while you were dieting and you think, man, I could just throw that in the mouth now and get it chewed up.
Yeah, plenty of times.
And so we've got B on behind the scenes, itching to ask you a few questions, but let me ask you something else now. This transition that you've done, let me bring up that picture. 1 second. I need to share the screen. That'd help. Your entire, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, that's not working for some reason. Why is that not working? Oh, we won't do that because for some reason it's not working. Yeah, so basically, your transition, you lost the weight, and now you've moved. You've not only lost weight, and you're half the man you used to be in weight. You were buff as hell. Now, not only have you lost the weight, you have gone and built muscle. You built a body to die for, basically. Tell me about that.
Okay. So along with the plant-based foods, hey, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey. So with that, the key thing that I realized is that the change in my plant-based foods were significant. And then I started to adopt more of the intermittent fasting lifestyle. So I would take the fasted workouts, the fasted cardio, and I would eat more of the greens, right? Spinach, salads, watermelon, apples, water-soluble fruits, so I can get the fiber in. And then I would take on protein and fats, etc., within my meal. So right when I'm starting to say, okay, I'm ready to cash in on my fast, which pretty means like, okay, my fasting's over, I'm about to eat. The first thing I take in, and still to this day, is the fibers, the fats first. Those are the first two things. And I started to realize that my body started to shrink like this. And so while I'm working out fasted, I'm building muscle at the same time. So I'm taking my stored fat and I'm using that for energy so I can build the muscle. So the body fat would deplete, the muscle would go up, and the fiber would clean the rest of the stuff out of my body. Super simple. So I was trying these things on myself. My wife introduced me to this YouTube channel where it was a doctor who talked about intermittent fasting. And so as I started to take it on more seriously and become consistent with it, that's when I started to notice the change. Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but let's let loose the bee, and then I can put a little bit of 97% dark chocolate in my mouth and eat some of that. So go on, B, hit him with your best question.
Dark chocolate. Hold on, dark chocolate. You, how's the racism going, Danny? How's the racism going?
I'm not racist anymore. I've decided not to be racist anymore.
Okay, all right. Are you sure? Because you were racist yesterday.
If you don't know what she's talking about, Tony, I was comparing John Venus, who sort of was vegan, then he went back to killing animals, and then he went back to being vegan again. And I compared it to me being racist, me not being racist, and me going back to racism. It's an undistinguishable thing. It's exactly the same mindset. So don't worry, I'm not joining the Ku Klux Klan yet, B. You such a,
this means you got to wash the
stirrer. You are such a stirrer, B. Right. Talk to this gentleman, please. That's what I brought you on for.
Happily. So with regards to your, you know, because you were talking about your greens and your fiber and stuff like that. So when you started, did you had to teach yourself with regards to the nutrients and what your body was getting? Do you still feel that way now? Or are you just confident you've done it for so long and you're just like, oh, I can have this, I can have that? Or is it what I'm trying to say, is it instinctive? Do you know what I mean? Eating and stuff like that? Or do you turn around and say, right, I need starch on here, I need carbohydrates, I need protein. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of people, even myself, I get confused sometimes. I think, right, okay, I need this on my plate, I need this on my plate, and this on my plate to cover all the nutrients. But then I can still get it wrong because I might miss something.
I see.
How'd you do that?
A lot of it, you know, honestly, a lot of it had to do with just doing research, honestly. And you know, fortunately, I'm married to a nurse, which she
lucky.
Really good with the health side. Also, she was certified in plant-based nutrition by Cornell University.
Really?
So, so within the she got certified in 2017. So the study guide she still had, and I'm like, hey, I want to be able to start studying that as well. So, and this is from Dr. Starts with the letter M. He's very well known. Dr. McGregor, Dr. Epelstein, all these plant-based doctors who are world renowned. I started to study what they put out, and while I'm doing fasted cardio on the treadmill, I'm studying at the same time. So I'm exercising my mind and my body, and I realized, you know, they're taking in a lot more greens and how it just helps the body. And so when I was doing that, I started to be my own, you know, I tested on myself. Okay, let me see how I feel. and my body was telling me how I felt, and I just stuck with it
Yeah.
ever since.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think that's the key as well, is listening to your body. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I get an urge and I think I could just eat some nuts now, and I go and get some nuts, and things like that is your body's way of saying, maybe I want a bit of magnesium, I want a bit of this mineral, I want a bit of that mineral. And when you learn to sort of listen to that and think, why am I craving something? That's the key as well. That's the key. Your body will always tell you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I always want biscuits.
Yeah.
And you can, right? You can still have it, but and one of the pictures that I have is a picture of me holding a plate of nachos. And I talk about how
I know.
You can still have a cheat meal every day, but at the same time you can lose weight. But it's a matter of how much you take in on your cheat meal. So I'm not going to have a big plate of nachos every day and be like, well, I'm still losing weight. That's false information. But if I'm able to stay regimented on my food, if I'm taking in the fiber and the fats first, and then let's say instead of having the plate of nachos this big, I'm already filled up on everything else. I take in a plate this big, then I'm able to still enjoy my meal, but at the same time, getting everything else in that's healthy.
Absolutely. Right? Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, I like that. I like that. And also, has your wife always been vegan? Because you said that she went Sorry, no, you said she went vegan. So how long has she been vegan? And then how long did it take? And what did it take to drum it into you to go vegan?
So she went first in 2016. So to kind of like couple it together, I would say we started our vegan journey on St. Patrick's Day, 2016.
Oh.
And so the other part that I failed to mention earlier is that I have 2 pit bulls, right? And I've shared this with people before. I can't imagine people eating my pit bulls. Right?
For sure.
So I'm looking at them, feeding them food, and I'm like, no, I don't. I didn't put the 2 and 2 together before, but I've always been against animal cruelty before veganism, and I don't want to see animals get hurt, right? And so when I started to look at that, it just clicked, and I'm like, I get it, and so that's when it was just complete, no more. So 2016 St. Patrick's Day is when I say we shared our vegan journey, and then from there, never looked back.
You see, vegan anniversary.
See, the thing is as well is what people don't realize is you can run 50 miles a day if you wish. You can do burpees and hack squats and chest press and anything you want every day, 7 days a week. Yeah. But you ain't going to lose any weight unless you restrict your calories. And this is what a lot of people do not understand, is that it's calories in, calories out. You ain't ever going to lose any body mass unless you drop the calories. And B, I introduced to MyFitnessPal. I don't know whether you're aware of MyFitnessPal, Tony. Yes. So I introduced B to MyFitnessPal, and I said to B, I said, I bet you are not aware of how many calories you're eating a day. And B said, I'm only eating a few. I said, well, I'll tell you what to do. Input what you eat just in a normal day and have a look. And she was like 2.4, was it at 2.6 at one point, 2,600 calories a day?
Yeah, I was really shocked. I was absolutely shocked at how much I actually ate, and not good stuff either. And I thought, oh my God, I felt thoroughly ashamed with myself.
I mean, you're only short as well. B should be only eating like 1,600, 1,700 tops. That's the top end. And so, of course,
4'9" and a bit.
Yeah. I've got a little question.
Important.
Got a question here. I want to lose 4 more stone. I have a lot of muscle mass because I've done weights in periods, and I've never really lost any muscle mass since going vegan, even without periods on no training, funnily enough. So again, what would you say to Vohan V? Thank you for the question.
Okay. So can you populate that again?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So I want to lose 4 more stone. I've lost a lot of muscle mass because I've done weights in periods and I've never really lost any muscle mass. So you want to lose 4 more pounds. or
no, 4 more stone. So
Right.
14, that's quite a lot. So that's 28, 56 pound he wants to lose.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of weight to lose, Vohan. Jesus, is that real?
Hey, from April to November of 2019, I lost 62 pounds. It can happen.
So it can be done.
Yeah. So it's literally, for me, the advice that I would give on that is continue the muscle building, right? But the intermittent fasting is going to take a huge part in the weight loss. So if you're able to do workout fasted, meaning even if you have just tea by itself, black coffee, water, nothing that'll spike your insulin, and you're able to still work out and do cardio, and then later on when you have your first meal, include those fats and fibers, you're going to be able to retain the muscle mass because you're building it. Everything else is just going to start coming off because your body fat is going to be able to be used for fuel. So I would say give that a try, but you have to stay consistent first and foremost.
Vohan, V fasting will make you lose weight fast. Yeah. So obviously, Chris Grant's. I'm just calorie counting, he says.
Right. So, thank you, Gary Reeves. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel absolutely phenomenal every day, energetic too. And naturally, I just feel my best. And for me being 42 years old, I feel better now than I did when I was 41, 40, all the way back to my 20s and teens.
Wow.
And that's another avenue that I want to be able to share with men who are 35 and over. We hear about this whole testosterone thing. That's a whole nother avenue that I want to be able to cover in another time, because my testosterone has gone up as I get older.
Vegan.
Right. And so it's just like, and we want to be able to stay active as much as possible, right? As long as possible. And it's like for those things to be natural and just for it to continue to increase, it's just been great. I want to share something with you guys real fast. I want to be able to share my screen just so you guys can see. Now I have a Fitbit here, and I get a weekly report, right? So what I want to be able to do is share with you guys, because we were talking about calories in, calories out. And I have my report, and this is more on a daily basis. And so let me go over here and just share this. I get an email every week.
Oh, hold on, I'll get my glasses on.
Okay. Let me know if you guys can see that.
I've just added to the stream now, Tony.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, 106,811 steps.
Oh.
Yeah, within the week, right? Because I'm always talking about 10,000 steps before 10 a.m. I like to be challenges with people, just to inspire other people, right? Push beyond their comfort. So here's my average daily calorie burn. Right? So anywhere if I want to be able to drop more weight, and this is kind of going back to Vohan's question, if I want to be able to drop that weight, I want to be able to take in anything less than 4,000 calories, right? I want to be able to still have my body in a deficit. But here's the other part too. The calories that I want to take in, I want them to be healthy calories, right? So meaning the fats, the fibers, the salads, all those things add up. And I do add almonds, pumpkin seeds, lentils, beans, and those are calories. But at the same time, because it has so much fiber, I get what I need and get the rest out. So I'm able to burn the calories on top of taking in good calories and still be able to have my body feel, what's that called? When people not malnourished, but feeling nourished. Not saying, and that's why my energy levels have gone up, because my body's like, hey, I'm burning all these calories, but then you're feeding me all these good foods, and I get what I don't need. I get what I need, and then I get rid of what I don't need, and I just feel great. So my body's telling me that, and I'm like, hey, I can fast for 20 hours a day, and not a problem. And I have a 2-year-old daughter that I like to play with and run around with and go outside and take her to the park. And I'm not like lagging behind, like, okay, come on, let's go. It's like, come on, let's go. And, we're running together. So it's very vital to make sure that the foods that we're putting into our body allows our brain to light up and allows our body to feel more energized. And so that's why before, when I did have the 5 meals a day and I was taking an animal-based protein, or whey protein shakes, my body felt like I had bricks on my legs and I'm just lagging. Oh my gosh, like why am I so tired all the time? It's because of all those additions or additives, sorry, that are put into those animal-based proteins, and I just felt horrible. Just,
You see,
Yeah,
you see,
I found.
sorry,
Go on.
go on.
No, I said I found a friend of mine years ago. I never knew what whey protein was, and he was always making these like big scoops of this stuff that stank. To me, it stank, and he'd mix it up and have that first thing in the morning, and then he'd go to the gym. But I think he did that for about 10 years, and he never looked like you. You know, and I
Thanks,
said
mate.
to him,
I
no,
know. Takes sacrifice to see a body like this.
no, dear, Tony. Yeah, and I said to him, what the hell are you doing? Because we ended up bumping into each other, and he still kind of looked relatively the same. And I asked him about the gym and stuff like that, and he said, wow, you lost weight. And I said, yeah, I turned vegan. That was all I could really come out with. And I said, what is your regime? And he said, oh, I'm still doing weightlifting and stuff. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Are you sitting there? What are you doing? And so I started talking to him about like the whey protein and stuff like that. And he's kind of it's like he's addicted to it. But I said to him, why not? I said, there's like vegan proteins you can get. I said, or just get it direct from the plant itself. You know, so it's interesting. I think I might send him your Instagram as well.
Yes, do share it.
I think so. I think that would be a good idea.
It's very inspirational. I mean, what do you think about this? He says you've got to do both diet and, I think, exercise, it means there, and then adjust day to day with what you can manage. The more activity you do, the bigger your appetite. Would you agree with that, Tony?
it really just depends. I noticed that when I'm doing legs, my appetite is a lot more ravenous. So at that time, I may take my intermittent fasting hours and shrink them down by a few. But at the same time, if I'm doing like, let's say back, or if I'm doing arms and I'm still getting in my cardio, I'm not as hungry because my muscles take up, my leg muscles take up a lot more energy to use. So I do get a little more hungry. But yeah. It does change. However, the other thing that's really, really good is to make sure that you are constantly changing the way you exercise and eat on a daily basis, because it keeps your body guessing. You never want it to just be comfortable. Okay, here we go.
That's what you told me. Yeah. That's what Grumpy told me, because I was like,
the key is, Beadle, the thing is that you only eat for calories to a point, and then the rest of what your body requires is your body asking for certain nutrients. See, we need glucose for the brain, so we need starchy vegetables. You know, we need other nutrients. When we do damage, we need, you know, and it's just reacting to those signals that is key. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people do is they mistake thirst for hunger.
For sure. I learned that last year.
And that is a big thing. And that's something I suffer with. I do nowhere near drink enough water. And it's so easy to mistake thirst for hunger and eat instead of drink. When a pint of water will just do the trick for you. If anybody wants to drop any questions on, drop them on now. I'm going to try and throw as many as I can up at the moment.
I do. I've got another one.
Let me just say this one thing. And if anybody wants to join the stream to speak to Tony direct, I'm going to drop the link up there as well. So here we go.
Cool. I'm gonna start my IG live here as well. That way we can have multiple opportunities.
I can't, because I'm on a phone. It's tiny. I'm kind of squinting, so I won't be able to see what people are saying.
All right. Yeah, I'm just starting it over here.
What would you say about this? Fruit is good for weight loss because it gives you clean energy, no lethargy, so you can keep going and keep burning calories and exercising. A little bit dubious.
Fruitarian, isn't it? Isn't that fruitarian?
Well, it depends what fruit it is as well. I
Mm,
find
Right.
dates before a run
they're
are,
very good.
Mhm.
yeah, that tends to send me. But maybe you don't get that from an orange or an apple. I don't know.
I think you'd
Yeah.
have to vary the diet if that was the case, surely. I mean, Tony, you're a bit more, you know, afraid with that. But I'd definitely say fruit and veg, is nuts, seeds, legumes.
Yeah, yeah, and even when it comes to um, like water soluble fruits, like every day it's like watermelon and apples for me, right?
Oh, I
And
love watermelon.
yeah, but if I were to have like banana or guava or fruits that are more like starch heavy, then the results may be a little bit different. But because I'm still getting what I need, and just the rest of it's coming out. Then
Yeah, I mean, we all know nuts are great at helping with weight loss as well, because you can't break them down to get the fats. It's possible to sort of break them down by chewing, and they sit in your gut and keep you satiated. So nuts are a good thing, because there is a bit of a fallacy about nuts and the fats, and
Oh,
you
I
know,
love nuts.
but it's absolute rubbish. You cannot break down nuts enough to release all the fats, so therefore
No.
it's good. What's your go-to?
Tony. Oh,
yes,
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Me.
What's your go-to, Tony, for protein, for your protein hit? I personally use a vegan protein powder, but what's yours for your big hits? What do you do the same, or
for protein, just like what do I normally go to?
if you I mean, like I said, I've been trying to build muscle now, but the main problem I have, I'm going for 140 grams of protein a day. With sort of 40, 40, 20 carbs, protein, 20 grams of fat. But I'm struggling getting protein in if I don't have a protein shake. So
Okay.
what
Yeah,
food
so
do you...
my go-to is strictly food, or not strictly. Primarily food would be my first go-to for the protein. So whether it's getting it from the vegetables that I take in, because spinach has protein, the nuts have protein, avocado has protein. I usually fill up on those proteins first using the food. And if I do decide to have a mock meat, right, whether it be like a Beyond or a Gardein or an Impossible, or just tofu or seitan, like those things too, I take in for another amount of protein. However, honestly, I don't measure, I don't weigh or any, say, okay, I got to hit 70 grams of protein a day. But I know that I'm taking in whatever I need in order for me to maintain muscle mass. But then when I do have a protein like smoothie or shake, I will use a protein powder. It's from a company called Soul Shakes, which is really, really good. And the cool thing about that is that it's a superfood type of protein powder. So it's all plant, like you can read the ingredients. It has all vegetable protein in there, and it's labeled out really, really good. And the thing is that there's some protein powders that make me feel kind of like different, even though they're all plant-based, make me feel kind of different and like
I've heard rumors that some protein powders can have heavy metals in them, unless they're very...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's a lot of protein powders out there that are mass made and aren't that clean, even if they are vegan. It's just you have got to be very careful when you're choosing the protein powder.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so the Soul Shake protein, I've tried it, and I'm very, very skeptical on certain protein powders, right? Just because of my history before with the whey protein, and then I've tried Orgain protein and different pea protein powders. But this one that I'm able to take, it's like I enjoy it, right? And I come up with different recipes or whatever it may be to kind of enhance the tasting of the smoothie or the protein shake. But it's really, really good, and my body's like, all right, it's good to go.
Proper ripped.
Pardon me?
Proper ripped.
Yeah.
How do you so when you go to the gym, how do other gym members, how do they react when I think you've probably answered this. How do you react when they you find out that you're vegan and that your muscle is all plant, plant grown, how do they react? How do they really react?
Right. I've had mixed reactions. There's been praise, like there's been, shock, like I would have never guessed that you were vegan. And so, I'll wear different, apparel to the gym, whether it's plant powered or spoiled vegans or probably plant based, whatever, apparel that I decide to wear. And so when they ask me and I tell them, there's like, no way, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, and it gives me an opportunity to share information with them. And I've only gotten like one, I want to say, debate with one guy. But the way that I went about it is more of a Q&A with him. And so he's like, no, I got to have my steak before I work out. And I'm like, okay, and how do you feel after that? Like, I feel fine. And I'm like, okay, well, how about, you and I do a 30-day thing where I take my route that I normally do, and you take yours, and let's work out, right? And now I'm inviting, let's work out together. Let's go 2 hours, right? Let's see you put me through your workouts. I'll put you through mine. And let's see our endurance. No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Well, hey, but I don't beat it into people. So the cool thing is that I'm able to share that information with them, right? Whether they have questions, and I'm able to provide answers. But also, it's kind of like it's cool because we're all in this together as a community, right? And so the more opportunity that I get to speak with people, the better.
Exactly.
You triggered a question there, B, actually. That's what I wanted to say. So, Tony, you actually do coaching, online coaching at the moment. Is that correct?
Correct.
So anybody can contact you on, is it Instagram?
Yes.
And what would you do for these people? Let's say this guy who wants to lose 4 stone and he contacts you. So obviously there's a cost in it. You're not going to give him your time for zero money. But what sort of process do you go through? Is there apps? How do you go through the process of training somebody online who would contact you?
So it all starts with the foundation of where they are at the current time, right? And so from there, it's a matter of Q&A. I want to be able to get as much information that I can from them. And then from there, it's more of a breaking down. So it's not just, okay, hey, do these reps, do this set, work out on this, eat that. But I start going into your mind first. Where do you want to be 6 months from now? Well, I want to be here, right? So if you want to drop 40 stones in 6 months, then we have some work to do. And then from there, once that whole foundation is set, then there's weekly check-ins. Then there's, okay, where are you at? I want to see pictures of the food you're eating. Then there's, since we're talking about weight base and you want to drop the weight, then I want to be able to say, okay, on Sunday mornings, I want to see the picture on the scale fasted first thing in the morning. This way I can get the most accurate amount of weight that you're at. And I will know by that time if you're staying committed to it or if you're kind of bouncing back and forth. And so right now, as I'm coaching a guy, he wants to lose 100 pounds within a year.
Oh, so, wow.
Right. So every week we do our check-in. And because we're remote right now, when it comes to the food part, I'm like, hey, let's do some online shopping together. So we'll do a Zoom chat and he'll go to the cart and I'll make sure he checks out and he has, he's going to get his food. And so that's where it begins. Now, when it comes to the training or the weights, because I'm not there with him in person and I have my full-time job, I recommend different workouts to do, right? Because I've experienced it myself. And so, with that experience and the information comes that transfer. And then from there, they're able to transform not only their mindset and how they're going to take their daily lifestyle, but also their body as well. And when they see that, they appreciate it and then they celebrate. And it's like, okay, let's keep going. Back on the grind. Let's keep going.
Do you
like that?
Do you advocate scales? Do you advocate jumping on scales and weighing yourself periodically, or would you say look in the mirror, or is scales a big part of it, or is it just very much sort of stepped over the months? You're not asking people to weigh themselves every week, or
right. So there's multiple areas that I like to cover. The scale is one of them, but the scale is not the one and all. It's a matter of, okay, this is where you're starting at, and this is where you want to be. Obviously, the scale, it will be included because if you want to lose 100 pounds, obviously you want to be able to weigh in.
Yeah.
Right? And so the other part is the body fat. The body fat is very, very important, more than you. And so if you're dropping all this weight, but you're just looking just so different, right? And you're not building muscle. And this is for both men and women, because the more muscle you build, the more body fat you're able to burn. And so when you're doing that, it's a compound effect for the positive, you know, for your mindset and body. So the body fat part is also important. So get that measured. Also, how does your clothes look and feel, right? If you're noticing that your shirts are getting a little bit baggier, or maybe you have a shirt that you haven't worn in years because it's too tight and small now, you're putting it on, it's good, then that's another factor. Also, people, right? Like you said, hey, I remember I saw you when you were at this size, and wow, like you totally look different now. So people interaction, being able to see the change is also a very motivating factor to the mind. And so if people do jump on the scale and they say, well, I was 275 last Sunday, and now I'm 275 this Sunday, but I've done everything you said, the number hasn't moved, it affects you, right? But they didn't realize they're building muscle, they're taking in more water, they're taking in, you know, nutrient food, and their body's going through a change. It doesn't happen overnight. And so with that, it's a matter of, and I'll say, well, how do your clothes fit? Well, I've noticed they're fitting a little bit better. I like the way I feel. Okay, good. Then let's keep going. So that's why I like to throw multiple factors at people instead of just sticking to the scale.
Perfect, mate. Dan Brown's just come on. He said, where are the trolls? Bring on the trolls. Right, listen, the trolls ain't going to come on here because, unfortunately, Tony Drake disproves every single troll comment they can actually
Exactly.
They're shit scared of people like Tony Drake. This is why I love Tony Drake, because it's one of them to all the trolls out there. You can build muscle on a vegan diet. You can live
I think we need
a vegan diet.
I think we need t-shirts. I love Tony Drake.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like VegMet Cupboard. Tony Drake, you're jack, man. You're jack.
Thank you.
Isn't he? Isn't he?
I appreciate it.
There was something about cake there. I don't want to do that.
Cake.
Right, another question, Tom. So, do you take clients on? Are you okay? If you would need to drop off, because I know you're with your daughter at the moment, you're babysitting your daughter. If you need to drop off,
no, I'm on IG Live too.
All right, you're on IG Live.
Yeah.
So your clients that come on board, do you take non-vegan clients on?
No, I take whoever. And so
you do take non-vegan clients on then?
Oh yeah, because when they ask about protein, right? So it's like, okay, I'll have my fruits and vegetables, but what about protein? And of course, I'm going to advocate for plant-based protein, right? And so whether it's the pictures that I show them on Instagram, the foods that I eat, or just recommending to them, you know, the information with the, you know, the healthy choices, it's saying, okay, here's your opportunity, but if they don't take the opportunity, that's their choice. I can't force it on them to say, hey, you got to take animal-based protein. And I won't drop somebody just because they say, well, I'm going to still eat my meat. That's their choice that they're going to make. And so I'm just your coach. I'm the one that's holding you accountable. And if you're not able to see the results from the lifestyle choices you make, that's on you. I've given you all the information that I've experienced and learned and sharing it with you. And if you want to be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to still eat this, by all means, hands off. Okay. Then that's your choice.
But you're still advocating, but in a way though, you're still inspiring and is it advocate? But you're still inspiring that person that you could turn around and say, you know what? Actually, I'm sitting here with my cow steak, but Tony doesn't eat this. Yet he's still, you know, if he bumps into me, I'm going to feel it. So surely, I reckon that gets in there. Actually, that gets in there.
Right.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and it's just a slow process, right?
Of course it is. I mean, so is there any other activism in your arsenal away from the gym? I mean, obviously now you've said to me you're vegan. So to me, once you tell me you're vegan, Tony, I assume that you're doing all you can to defend the animals, protect the animals, and push a vegan lifestyle. What do you sort of do away from everyday normal life? How do you advocate for the animals?
So when it comes to apparel, right, I make sure that it doesn't have any type of animal skin. So if it's leather on there, or if there's anything that has any type of animal ingredient, I just won't purchase it. And I'm a huge Converse Chuck Taylor shoe fan. And so when it comes to buying Chuck Taylors, I make sure that I just get the canvas kind and not the one that has the leather into it. And so that's my purchases that I make. I make sure, I'm reading the ingredients on what I buy as well. So
yeah. Right. Listen, I'm bringing on UK Vegan Family.
Come on board.
The reason is I'm bringing these on is because they are exactly the same as you. They're a complete vegan family.
Awesome.
And they are the recipients of quite a lot of stick from the UK idiots in this country who seem to think that bringing a vegan kid up will kill them, which isn't true. So jump aboard, Daniela.
Hello.
My fitness coach this morning.
Oh yes, I was lethal to you.
I need to tell you this actually, Tony. Daniela discovered this app called Zombie Run.
Oh, it's good.
Okay, and you click on it and you start running, and it tracks your run. But every now and again, zombies come up behind you, and you have to run away from them. And I'm not joking. All this guy saw this morning was me screaming down the road saying, "You're not going to get me!"
Whatever it takes.
I was scared. You can hear them running up behind you. Oh, it's terrible.
It's really
Okay,
funny.
fire away, Daniela.
Say that again.
Fire away, Daniela.
Yeah. I think there's such a big thing out there at the moment about like your body shape, whether you're large or whether you're slim. There's always someone out there who is got it in for you. And if you're slim, I've lost a lot of weight, and I think people picked up on that. I've been on a calorie deficit, on and off, lose different diets and whatnot. But I'm at a place where I'm happy, and we as a family were sort of picked up on that. They kind of like, probably because I'm slim, I don't know, but they body shamed us, and they've picked on us. And I mean, I don't care now because it's just given me a bit of a focus. But people will pick on you regardless of what you look like. I mean, they say quite regularly that we look malnourished and that our son's malnourished, and he's not. He's thriving. He's incredible. He's always meeting his growth and development. He's very forward for his age. He's 3.
How old is Daniela?
He's 3.
And how old is your daughter, Tony?
2.
2. So, Daniela, we've been chatting about schools, and we've talked about bullying at schools.
Yes.
So Tony, I'd like to direct a question to you. How are you going to prepare your daughter for school life? I mean, you were a big victim of bullying. What are you going to say to your daughter if she comes home and says, "Dad, my hair's been pulled, I've been pushed, I've had something thrown at me because I'm vegan. I don't want to be vegan anymore." How are you going to prepare her for this? Because I know, Daniela, for you, it's a big sticking point as well.
Yeah. First, I want her to be able to defend herself. And so kind of going off into a small tangent over here is that my wife and I, we want to raise her to learn Krav Maga, self-defense, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
This way, because we've taken it as well, right? And so this way, if kids do pick on her and she defends herself, I'm sure they won't pick on her again after that. Right? So that's one way that that we're going to be able to instill that in her. The other part is that if they do pick on her for that, I want her to be able to stand out and not be part of the crowd. And I know with kids, they want to be liked, they want to have friends, and I totally understand that. But she needs to know that they can still be her friend because she refuses to not eat animals. And so we want to be able to teach that to her as well. So mentally and physically, I would like for her to defend herself that way.
Also, look at the size of my dad.
I don't know whether have we got a troll on the stream, because someone's saying gin wing. I've never had a cavity in my life, not eating flesh in over 26 years. Do you know, I'd like to talk on this actually, because I have found that my dental health now is way better than it used to be. I don't go to the dentist. I only go 12 monthly. I don't eat half as much processed sugar. I don't eat any stuff that sort of will hurt your teeth or get stuck in your teeth, because meat gets stuck in your teeth. You know, and it's. I find my dental health is a lot better since going vegan, plant-based. So I don't know whether this is.
I can speak huge on that.
Oh, hey, hang on a minute. Here we go. I found it. Here we go. It's a tooth-rotting, gut-destroying, hair loss, new world order cult. Okay.
So I could definitely speak on the dental visit. Before, when my you can come on in, love. My wife just jumped in, so this is perfect timing. So you guys can see the tag team that our daughter. But so here's my wife. Come on in.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
There I am. Hi. How are you?
Gorgeous.
You're a plant-based nutritionist as well.
Cornell University.
Yeah. I'm a nurse. I don't know if he told you, but I'm a nurse, and so I work in GI. And I can't believe that my doctors don't ever talk about it more often. Should I look this way?
No.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
And so I work for Kaiser. I don't know if you guys know, it's like a healthcare provider that's here in the States. Okay. And they actually just started pushing plant-based nutrition. They actually have pamphlets, and all of the bariatric patients are now going plant-based diets before their surgeries. So it was really, really cool. Yeah. So I feel like it's super important that we've been having a lot of people who are a lot younger having colon cancers and stomach cancer in their 20s.
Really?
And I think that has a lot to do with the things that they're eating. I mean, stressful lifestyle as well. Some of it could be genetic, but you know, I'm always like, your colon needs fiber. Your colon needs nutrition, and if you're eating meats and animal products, they sit in your stomach, they ferment, they cause cellular changes, and so I always need to know the why. Like, why?
Yeah. I mean, if people are ingesting hormones and our bodies work off hormones, you're going to, and especially when you're ingesting mammalian hormones that mimic your own, you're going to. It's obvious.
Especially in the States. The States, we have, you guys, at least you guys have a lot more regulations. In Europe here, our food is good luck. Hopefully, you know, have fun with it. You know,
I mean, you need to link up with Daniela, because Daniela is a nurse and she's been having major problems.
Oh man!
I mean, I don't want to say because I don't want whether Daniela can talk on screen about it, but you two need to link up.
Because I'm amazed. It changed my life. I was super sick. I was really sick for 2 years. And I went vegan, and I was seeing a specialist outside of Kaiser. No one was helping me. My labs were normal. Everything was normal, right? And that's like, you felt hopeless. I thought I had autoimmune. I thought I had cancer. I seriously switched to a 100% vegan diet. And within the first week, 80% of my symptoms were gone that I could not get rid of for 2 years.
Look at that.
And it really changed my life, not only like learning about the animal cruelty aspects and learning about the environment, but just my body was like, finally. And then within, I would say, about 4 weeks, I felt totally normal, whatever it is. But
I'll put the troll in timeout. Sorry, I'll put the troll in timeout. I'm going to ban him in a minute because he's an absolute pillock. I won't swear because I know your daughter's traveling around, but Winger is an absolute. If any of the other moderators are on, please just keep your eye on what he's saying, please.
The one thing that I wanted to talk about real quick when you were talking about the dental visits, right?
Yeah.
And when I would go for my cleaning, or when we would go for our cleaning, my numbers were high at first. This is when I was eating meat. You say, 444, 555, 333. And so now when I go get my teeth cleaned and I get those done, all the numbers are low. They're either 3, 2, or 1s now. And so that's a matter of inflammation in your gums. And because I don't take in animal-based protein anymore, my inflammation has gone down significantly. When I hurt my back, the doctor projected 6 to 8 weeks of recovery, but because I don't eat animal-based products, my recovery was 5 weeks. So it just goes to show that your body's not taking in all this extra inflammation that it doesn't need, and so it's able to recover a lot faster. So I've noticed that both with the dentist and with the doctor.
Wow.
So what's your wife's name? Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Danelle.
Danelle.
Danelle. A nice name.
Danelle. So what's your view on veganism in the world today? What's your take on it? I mean, Tony mentioned that you watched Forks Over Knives and was it Earthlings?
I've never seen Earthlings. I watched actually years ago Vegucated.
Ah.
And I remember the next day I was so depressed because I saw it talks about old pig slaughterhouses and like how they used to be slaughtered and boil a lot. It was just I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like I don't know. I feel like we grow up no one talking about it and like the whole aspect of like animals consenting to be eaten. I don't know. You just don't think about it. And so, but as of right now, like, are you asking like where do I see it going, or what are you wanting to know specific wise? Like,
I just wanted to ask that because Daniela actually interviewed the producer of and director of
Marissa Miller-Wolfson. Yeah. She's brilliant.
Yeah, it was at that time I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I went a pescatarian at that time for a while. And then I got really sick and everybody's like, oh, paleo is anti-inflammatory, do paleo. Oh my God, I was gonna die. It was like the worst thing ever for me. And I felt so guilty because I knew. And I have such an affinity for animals. Like I love my dogs. I'm that person. If I see a stray dog on the side of the road, I'm gonna take it and put it in my car. And you know, like that's the type of person I am. And then once I finally made the connection, after all these years, my grandfather was a cattle rancher, so I've been around that type of lifestyle my whole life. And, but it was easy. Like I went overnight. Like it was like, bam, and that was it for me. And then he came on about a week after I did, and he finished up eating all the cheese that was in the house and the eggs. It's been amazing, the community. I just kind of see like where we're going. Like it's kind of what things are kind of trending, you know, just the options that you see in the grocery stores now, and you know, you have it at like Burger King and places like that. So like
I mean, what would you? Are you going to check out the schools before your daughter goes to school to see what plant-based options are there? Is this something you're going to look into deeply before you send it to schools? What's it like in your part of town for the schools? Have you any idea? Have you not looked yet?
No, the only thing I knew about the corn.
I think we've just lost. We'll see if they come back on. Because we're trying to find out, Daniela, aren't we, about schools at the moment?
We are indeed.
We are trying to survey schools, and we're in the process of just trying to find out what is on offer. I mean,
apart from baked beans and a potato.
Yeah, apart from baked beans on toast with no butter on. It's just and I think people need to know this. And I think, like you said, it's a philosophical viewpoint that is. We've got them back now. That is, it's all right, mate. All I can say to you, Tony, is pay the bills, mate. That's your only job in the house. Pay the bills.
I'm very lucky. Very lucky. She'll be right back, but yeah.
But yeah, we were just chatting then, Tony, about schools and about. I mean, back in the Stone Age when I was at school, we were forced to drink milk.
Me too.
Oh, Jim Winger's back. He's now blocked. Go away, you little shit. I booted him, Gary Reeves. Don't worry. It's just like I don't mind a troll who's got something we can talk about. You know, that's okay. I've got this question for you. Tooth decay on a vegan diet. I've heard it's really, really prevalent. What's your answer? There's your answer. Oh no. It's no. I just if you're going to troll,
don't give them platform.
Dan, you know about the teeth thing? Well, considering I've never eaten flesh of an animal, I've never had a filling or anything in my mouth.
Wow.
So
awesome.
there you go.
Look at that.
I noticed that Netflix USA removed forks over knives 2 weeks ago. Anyone else notice this? Well, we can't tell you. But things do have a shelf life.
Yeah.
You know,
It may come back again, which happens with Netflix though sometimes.
I mean, how old is Forks Over Knives? It's
Oh,
I
years
watched
old.
it about 5 years ago, so it's over 5 years old.
yeah, because I watched it quite a while ago. I mean, since then we've had Dominion, and have you watched Game Changers, Tony?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Why wasn't you on it?
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I was, but maybe
Game Changers
part
2.
2. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what makes me laugh is the amount of people that tried to debunk it. These so-called experts that came on to try and debunk it. I mean, you'd think that people would something like that was triple and quadruple checked. All the medical information was checked by different experts, including non-vegan experts. You'd think once something like that comes out, people would embrace it, whether they're vegan or not, and say, hold on a minute, I've had parents, I've had family who have died, who have been ill. This could stop it. Embrace it. Why reject it? I really do not get it, you know?
Yeah, I don't get it either. But what I've encountered with people is that even though they've seen it, what I've heard, the feedback, and some people have literally, it's changed their life and they've actually taken over plant-based. And I always like to separate plant-based from being a lifestyle, right? Because they still may buy a car that has lettuce seeds, but they're eating all plant-based foods, right? But there have been some people that have gone completely plant-based on their food choices. But there also have been people that said, well, that's just a vegan side of the Game Changers. That's all they're talking about. So they're
but James Roach wasn't vegan when he set off on that journey in that film. That's the thing, you know. It's like,
but there's certain things that will be taken in, and the rest will be put away, right? So they'll see it and they're like, oh yeah, that was a great documentary, but it's totally advocating for veganism. So but here's the thing though. For me, I wasn't that way when it would come to the way I spoke about it. But before I even went vegan, there was a guy that I knew who was vegan, and he was brolic, right? And so I was like, well, of course, how do you get your protein? And he told me, and I was like, I don't think I can do that, right? So the mentality that we've been ingrained with for so many years, it's not as easy to just say, I got it, right? When you see a documentary or when you see somebody who is of a fit, a fit body, but they're vegan, it just takes some time. And so even though that documentary is out and people have seen it, a lot of people will go against it. Some people will go against it and then slowly make a change. I just think that it really does take time. And it's our own mindsets, the way we choose about going on.
Definitely. You're so correct. You're so correct.
Yeah.
And
how about your family, your extended family? How do they react when they see both you, your wife, and your daughter thriving on nothing but plants? So, when you go to like what do you call it cookouts over there. So what if you're in that situation and they see you've got all this abundant, colourful plants, how do they react? Have you changed? Well, not changed, inspired anyone to go plant-based or to go vegan?
Yeah, so my immediate family, they've never really been against it. Like I got teased, right? And they're like, oh, whatever, but it wasn't anything harsh. We as family, we tease each other, right? But they would try stuff here and there, right? And I'm like, hey, I bought this burger, give it a shot. And they're like, all right, give it a shot, and they liked it. But now if we have in August, we had a beach cookout. And so we brought our food and they had their food, but they were still up for trying it. So now it's welcome, right? It's been so long that we've been doing it that it's slid right in. So there's no like, oh, here come those vegan people again. It's nothing like that. We're all in it together, but they know that we're going to eat our food. And if they want to eat their food, they'll eat their food. But my cousin, so let's go outside of my immediate family. I have my cousin and his mom who completely changed over to plant-based. So there's Is there anybody else? I think that's been it so far. But and my other cousin, she'll do like 30-day plant-based foods. She may have a few different foods here and there after the 30 days, but she's like, I don't feel good. She's like, I want to go right back. And so, so it's been, a slow transition, but there have been people who have been influenced.
Gary Reed says, I was suicidal at the point just before I turned vegan. I'm sorry to hear that, Gary. And my mental health has massively improved. And I have actually heard of studies about mental health and eating meat. And supposedly, when you're eating animal products, it releases certain chemicals into your gut that do cause mental health problems. Adam seems to be itching over here. Have you got some info on this reason?
Yeah, I was the same, Gary. I was the same. And veganism really changed my mental health. I came straight off all my antidepressants and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? I wonder. I mean, your gut flora is linked to your brain. This has been proven. This has been absolutely proven. And if you're feeding it like misery and death and torture, of course it's going to have an effect. Of course it is.
Yeah, and let me speak on that real fast, and I know my wife can advocate for it a little bit more. But there was a prison that stopped serving animal-based products and gave them all plant-based products. Remember you telling me about that?
Yeah.
And so there was a change. And so mentally, like you're saying, Gary, when the prison cells were starting to eat more plant-based foods, the behavioral change. Yeah,
same with the schools. They did it for students, and they were actually learning better and less interruptions during class time, fighting, things like that, just because their diet was altered and changed. Yeah.
And so with that, I remember, she was telling me about the prisoners and how it's changed when they introduce more of a plant-based, diet into their meals. And just imagine how that would be if it was across multiple prisons, right? And how much. But another good another person that I listened to was Russell Simmons, and Russell Simmons is huge in the hip hop game, and he talks about how when you take in plant-based foods or when you take in like raw foods or a whole vegan diet, he said your brain lights up and you have more energy, more of a positive outcome. So whether you're in a prison, whether you're having suicidal thoughts, mental health things going on, that food is medicine to help your brain change. And that's why, going back to what you were saying, Dan, about when I coach people with the training and nutrition, I always start with the mindset first. This way, your mindset will take over everything else and lead into those other avenues of action and results and celebration.
Definitely, because bad habits are easy. Bad habits are so easy to take up. I mean, I've come home a few times from work and I think, right, I'm not going to go to the gym tonight. It's I can find 1,000 excuses not to go to the gym.
You're not alone.
I want to go, and but also I've started doing the Wim Hof method, and I know Adam has as well, because apparently he screamed like a girl on his first attempt.
Adam,
it's the cold shower thing, Tony. And the first time I did it, see you later. We're not going to keep him much longer anyway. We're on nearly 1.5 hours now, so we're not going to keep him much longer. But I actually went dizzy in the shower when I first tried the cold shower thing. Daniela said she heard screaming upstairs. I thought someone was being electrocuted, and it was in the shower trying his first ever cold shower. Yeah. But are you open? You must be open to sort of new regimes, Tony. Have you looked at Wim Hof and his methodology? Because apparently this exposure to extreme cold is extremely good. I listened to a news report on the radio while I was driving my truck around, and 2 guys are studying Alzheimer's, and they have found that when they've studied these cold water swimmers, while they're in the water, they produce a chemical very similar to a hibernation chemical for animals. And apparently they can use this to slow down or prevent Alzheimer's. And I find it really interesting. And also another sort of facet to it is that as human beings, we're no longer exposed to the cold. It's something that we don't naturally do now. We've got heated homes. We've got very efficient, warm weather, warm clothing to wear in cold weather. So we're never exposed to it. So it's a facet of life that we're never exposed to, which we would have done in nature. And I think it's got a lot of... This guy, this Wim Hof, actually walked up Mount Everest barefoot and bare-chested. This is... I mean, I ain't ever going to do that shit. You know what I mean? I ain't even going to go in the garden when it's snowing with the top on. But there must be something in it. He does a lot of breathing exercises as well. It really is. It's amazing what the mind can actually do, how it controls the body. I mean, if he can block out the icy coldness of I mean, God, it must have been -20, -30 when he got near the peak of Everest. Without a top on and without anything on his feet, it's like, wow, that is something.
And that's why I like to start with the whole mindset first.
Definitely.
And when it comes to, and that's, you know, what really led me to doing the Motivational Mondays, right? And so every Monday morning, it's a matter of like, okay, what goal do you have set for this week? If you could just have one goal set, it doesn't have to be fitness related, but whatever you want it to be. So set it out there, right? And they share that response to my question. And then other people start to see those responses and they're like, I kind of like that too. I would like to take in more water. I think I need a meal prep. I want to start saving up more money. I want to get better sleep. So mentally it kicks in. So now they have that whole week to work on it. And then next week, when I come back with another Motivational Monday, now they have another goal set. So it starts to snowball more so, and mentally things start to change for them. And I've noticed an increase over the past 8 weeks since I've been doing it. That people are starting to respond more, and they're like, yeah, I'm starting to see a difference in what I'm doing in my lifestyle. And so, like going back to, you know, the guy climbing Everest barefoot and bare-chested, he just didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to go do that barefoot and bare-chested. Mentally, something had a kick for him to say, I'm going to give it a shot. He probably failed multiple times. He probably had to practice on different areas to get ready for that, but mentally,
he had to build up his resistance to the cold and his methodology and his mindset. Definitely, Tony. Definitely.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get used to the cold this morning. Trust me.
Yeah.
Start on the cold showers, B. That's apparently the way to start into it. But I am going to look into it more. I am definitely going to look into it more. Well, listen, Tony. 1 hour, 30 minutes. Any questions, people watching? Any questions from B or Daniela or Adam? Fire them over now, and then we'll get Tony's final words, final thoughts on everything.
I do have a question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do have a question from one parent to another. You are an inspiration, and I think, you know, you look so healthy. You've got a great figure. Like for us, we're just, you know, I'm slim, you're slim, and well, you've always been slim. We just look like regular parents, but you are, you know, an inspiration for people to go vegan. But as a, you know, as a family, do you find that even, you know, do people still criticize you for raising your child vegan, even though they can look at you and see you are so healthy? Do you still find that?
I haven't found any criticism on that. The only question or kind of like input that we received was from our old doctor that we let go. She gave us some talk of like, well, maybe you need to start feeding your daughter milk. Maybe you need to start giving her more, you know, advocating for more animal protein. And we're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to raise our daughter vegan as long as we can. And she's thriving. She's healthy. She looks great. Like she's not pale. She's not, you know, going through these things that people may say that, you know, vegan kids are going through. But she's been doing great. I would say that's been the only one that we've received so far. But as parents who are vegan and we want to raise our daughter vegan, we're just going to be able to be that walking billboard to say, yes, we've been vegan for X amount of years now. Our daughter's still been vegan and everything has been going great. And I think what we showcase in our mind and in our body can advocate a lot more to people.
Yeah, you're smashing it. Real inspiration to people out there.
Absolutely.
Definitely agreed. Definitely agreed. B, any more questions?
It's about your Instagram. Do you realise how flippy tasty your food looks and the amount of times I've licked my screen? And I'm going to need a new phone screen because it's starting to wear away. Just what I mean. You held up this burger and it looked really big, and I thought it's got a big camera angle, but it just looked, as what I'm Easy Vegan would say, a slutty burger. It looked so damn good.
Thank you.
It looked good. It just looked good.
There's some more coming soon, and there's been a lot of. Last night I made something I'm not going to say, but I made something, and my wife was like, maybe if you add some green onions and this to it, it's going to look a lot better. And I'm like, bam, and I did it, and I was like, oh, it looks so much good. I can't wait to post it. So that's coming soon.
Well, listen, mate. When's the YouTube channel coming? Because right, number one, your Instagram. I think your coaching and your food should be separate Instagrams, because that food is delicious. But you need to get a YouTube channel going. I think you and your wife together as a team would be absolutely epic on YouTube. And I think a lot of people would mirror my reasoning behind it. Is just, you know, people are so interested in it. When you've got somebody like yourself and your wife who looks absolutely fit as hell anyway. She doesn't look over. I don't mean it that way, but you know, she doesn't look
gorgeous.
She looks absolutely perfect. You know, you're such good advocates for the lifestyle. I think setting up a YouTube channel would be absolutely epic. If you do your food separate on Instagram, it will be months before people saying, "Do us a book, Tony, please. We want it. We want these recipes." You know? Definitely the way forward. I mean, vegan activism doesn't. You don't have to go to vigils. You don't have to go on the streets to go and talk to people. Vegan activism can be stuff like what you're doing, is just tempting people to the vegan lifestyle by simply showing them how great we look and how good our food is. You know, this beige plate with gravy and peas on is not. How many times can you show that, you know? But this rainbow-colored, amazing food is just what we all need.
Right. Agreed. And that's something that I talked about. Can you say hi?
Hello.
We've talked about that, and so right now she's working on more of like a beauty. She's working on that, and so I believe that's going to be coming soon. And for me to continue on my coaching in the food, eventually, and mom stuff, the things that people don't tell you as a parent. You know, they just like to show the good stuff, but she wants to be able to show. Thank you. She wants to be able to show, you know, kind of more behind the scenes, the real stuff. So we both have our avenues, but I think if we did come together on certain occasions where we do like cooking, or we do workouts, I think it'll really hit home with a lot of people. Because a lot of people even follow us back on Facebook where she was competing and I was wrestling. And back then we were eating animal-based protein. So now as being parents and still being able to stay fit and look a certain way, I think people will adapt to that pretty quickly.
Definitely.
Sure. Definitely.
Well, it's so cool to have talked to you tonight, Tony. Thank you so much for this conversation.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for your time. Thanks to UK Vegan Family. Thanks to Bohemian Beef for coming on. Thank you to everybody out there who's joined the stream tonight and put your great questions out there. Thanks to the trolls for being absolute pillocks. You make us look so good by your stupidity. But apart from that, Tony, any last words for everybody out there?
I just want to echo what you just said and say thank you guys for your time and for the support and for the encouragement as well. Because that tells me the feedback that I've been receiving from you to go further, right? And to be able to advocate for a vegan lifestyle and for vegan fitness and for a vegan family. So I just want to say thank you guys, and hopefully some things will change on that soon for the better.
I think it will.
Thank you. Peace, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a beautiful evening.
All right, you too.